Hey, everybody. Welcome to Healed Whole Called podcast number 2 today. I'm Wendy Melrose, founder of Resilience Press, and we believe God redeems our stories and uses them to bring healing and purpose to others. This is where real conversations about healing, faith, and resilience, and the calling that comes from life's hardest lessons. So if you're joining us live, say hello in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Today, I'm honored to welcome Jamie Villa. She is a stage 4 breast cancer survivor, entrepreneur, and advocate for integrative health. I'm so excited about this conversation. After her diagnosis, she leaned deeply into her faith while also taking an active role in her healing journey, researching, asking questions, and exploring every possible way to support her body. In less than 6 months, she went from stage 4 diagnosis to no evidence of disease. What?
Yeah.
She believes outcome was a result of her faith, perseverance, and being willing to advocate for her own health. And we know how hard that is in this world. So today, Jamie shares her story to inspire women to ask questions and strengthen their faith and advocate for themselves and then believe that healing is possible. So, hey, Jamie.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And you mentioned that you're joining from Virginia for the audience to know.
Yeah.
So for those of us meeting you for the first time, tell them, share the hope that you received from the difficult diagnosis.
Yeah. Wow. Where to start? What a crazy year it's been. So I was diagnosed stage 4 out of the gate at May of 2025. So less than 12 months ago.
Here?
Yep. Last year. Yeah. I'm a fitness instructor part-time. I eat right. I work out every day. I'm healthy. I don't have any family history, like no thought in my mind that I would ever have something like this happen. And then I found a lump. I was dismissed by a doctor initially, told me it was nothing, told me I was fine, told me I could wait until I turned 40. I was 39 at the time, to get a scan, a mammogram. And I just trusted that doctor and I was like, okay. So I went on my way and then the lump just started growing really fast. And I was like, this is not okay. So I kind of took matters into my own hands, found a company that does pop-up ultrasounds. They do it all over the country. It's called HerScan, which is amazing. And they saved my life. The tech did an ultrasound and was like, I'm not a radiologist. I'm not even supposed to talk to you hardly, but this is really urgent. So she urged me to go get further evaluated. So I did and had biopsies done and all the things done and was diagnosed quickly. So yeah, it was wild. It was a tornado. So for, 2 weeks after I got the biopsy results back that it was in fact positive for triple negative breast cancer, which is one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer and one of the hardest to treat, because there's less treatment options. Basically triple negative means that it's not receptive to any hormone therapy. So that eliminates an option right off the bat. So you're basically limited to surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation and immunotherapy possibly. And that's it. So I obviously it's a really hard, challenging thing to get terminally diagnosed with an illness. But, I spiraled for a minute and then I just leaned in and was like, there's gotta be a reason for this because it doesn't make sense. So I have to there has to be a purpose that I can get from this.
Now, I know that you had kind of mentioned how you went more holistic. Am I understanding you went more holistic then?
So I'm doing integrative, which means both. Integrating holistic treatments into traditional treatments. Triple negative is tricky because, like I said, it's so aggressive and fast. The tumor that I had at the time of my diagnosis was 8 centimeters. So it was almost 4 inches long. Like it was huge. Wow. Yeah. And it had metastasized into my lymph nodes and into my lungs. So I knew that there was no doubt that I was going to do chemo because I needed like the big guns to kind of get it under control. But I also knew that there had to be a way that I could support my body through chemo because chemo obviously is not great. It's good for what it does, but it also can really damage a lot of good things. So that was where the integrative and holistic part came in for me, was figuring out how to help my body, support my body through this toxic, poisonous medicine and also get my body in a place where the cancer is not going to grow back, or hopefully.
Right.
So that became my focus as far as that goes. So yeah.
So now did you, like so often people, I mean, we would think by 2026, we'd know that we want to change our diet. We want to do it before we're diagnosed, but definitely after, right? And so is that one of the things that you had done to kind of, because you were already a health person, so, you know, you probably already were doing the right things, but did you change anything else?
Yes, I changed a lot. So I really dialed in my nutrition. Yes, I was healthy before and eating fairly well, like, 80% of the time, but I became very aware of every single thing that I was putting in my body, and the benefit or the detriment that it was bringing. So I focused on just eating really clean, nutritious food. I didn't do any extreme diet. There's a lot of people that say like keto, for example, can be really beneficial, and it might be for some people. I think one of the biggest things I've learned throughout this is that everybody's so different. And that's why for me, traditional medicine is frustrating, because they give you, a blanket approach for everybody, but it's like, wait a second, my DNA is different than your DNA, and what works for me may not work for you. So that's hard. It goes both ways, because, there are some people who want to only do holistic things, which is great, but also at the end of the day, that might work for you, might not work for me, or whatever. So it's kind of it's been a big lesson in like trusting my intuition, doing a lot of research and trusting God, and to put in front of me what I need and I'll take what I feel like I need in the moment, and really run with that. But yeah, so nutrition has been a big part of it. Eliminating alcohol and processed meat are the two things that are actually linked to cancer. Studies have shown that. So eliminated both of those things instantly. And then just really focused on whole foods, nutritious foods, all kinds of stuff. And then on top of that, also, I kind of, I basically just started researching as much as I can, reading books, reading PubMed studies online, and just talking to survivors. That was a big piece for me too, was finding people with my diagnosis who are still alive and are thriving, and figuring out kind of what they did. Because there aren't a ton of stage 4 triple negative breast cancer, long-term survivors out there. But they do exist, and it is important to find them and just keep positive. It's hard, but
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and we all know that mindset is a huge factor to everything. You go down to the pit of negativity, you get what you think about, right? And so, in your faith was probably very much a pillar of strength in that. Where was a point that the Lord met you where you were in a way that surprised you?
I would say, so when I initially got the word that the cancer had spread, and I was initially like, just based on my biopsy and first ultrasound, my doctor said it looked like potentially stage 2. And then we did more scans and found out that it had spread. And that was the lowest moment for sure. Spiraling crying on the kitchen floor, calling my friends, like, I'm going to die, help me. But, I think after that, when I kind of like regained my composure and like really sat back, and people were sending me, scripture and amazing things. And I just was like, again, that there has to be a purpose for this. A lot of people sent me Matthew 17:20, the mustard seed, and you can move mountains, nothing is impossible for you. So that kind of really was the thing that got me over the initial hump of like taking control of this and taking authority over it. I think so.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything, because you had said be an advocate. So many people think they have to do because I've heard other stories on my podcast of those who have been diagnosed with something severe, and the medical world can very much bully you into doing what they want you to do without really giving you a lot of time to think and process about it. And, and there's no other way to say it. When you follow the money, there's a reason why they do that.
100%.
So how did you find the strength to say no, but yes to some things and no to others, without them, continually bombarding you with the fear tactics that come along with if you don't.
Yeah. So I told my doctor, I have a really great oncologist. I think I got very lucky in that regard. I've talked to literally thousands of women since I started sharing my story a year ago. And some of them are like, my doctor he just says no, and I doesn't have any sympathy or anything, which again, it's all crazy. The system is crazy. So I have a lovely doctor, and I have been open with her and like, look, this is what I'm going to do. And you can tell me what you need to tell me. And I understand like you're following an algorithm and a chart that tells you what to tell me. But this is my body, and I'm driving the ship. And unless you are sitting in this chair, you can't say what you would do. So, my mindset going in has been like, I'm in charge, and I will listen to what they say, and I will understand the science and the data. But at the end of the day, like, if it doesn't feel good to me, I'm not going to do it. And that's been a little bit more of a battle here, because I did achieve no evidence of disease in less than 6 months. I had clear scans, and I had clear blood work. So I have no tumor markers that scans can register, or that blood work can pick up on. And so my thought, I'm like, well, why am I doing chemo still? Like my diet, protocol according to traditional medicine is chemo forever. That's, what I've been told that I need to do. And that's insane. And I knew as soon as I was told that, I'm like, I'm not doing chemo forever. Like, I'm just not. So, I've given pushback since then, and we've kind of compromised a little bit. I've definitely cut back on chemo. I increased the frequency, or I decreased the frequency at which I was getting it. And my doctor's been open to that. But, I'm now 9 months out of my diagnosis. I'm awaiting one more blood test result that I should get back today. And then I do plan to stop chemo if it's still 0. I mean, I think, being an advocate for yourself, and again, it's your intuition and what feels good to you. And chemo I feel so healthy. It's crazy to say. People are like, how are you doing? Like, I actually feel better than I did before I was diagnosed with cancer. But, I have such a hard, difficult time feeling so great, and then knowing that I'm putting chemo in my body when I don't have actively growing cancer. So yeah.
Well, I think there's something to be said about all the other things that you're doing to help keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
And, I've been learning a lot this last calendar year, on opening up your detox pathways.
Yep.
And so, people are just like, well, what is that? What's your lymphatic system? It's your liver, your kidneys, and all the other things. And so if there's a way that you can keep that open, it allows, now I don't know the science behind chemo and whatever. It's something that I never have to choose to do that, because I absolutely hate it. And, but the point is that poison in, poison out. Right. Yeah. And so and we get poisoned all the time with our food and our water. And sometimes we wonder why we seem to struggle with dis-ease more than other times. And I think it really depends upon how is your body filtering the toxins, and are you doing what it needs to be done to support those systems? Yeah. So I'm just curious, is that something that you knew going into this, that you knew you needed to keep, detox pathways open, or is that something you learned at all or already knew?
I would say that particular part I knew of, but I didn't know the extent to which how valuable that is for your body. So it's definitely something I've learned and implemented, since I was diagnosed. There's a tea that I drink that's a gut detox that's like incredible. I do vibration plate and lymphatic drainage. I do red light therapy. I do PEMF. So I do all these things to support my body at a cellular level. But yeah, the drainage and the detox is, like you said, it's in the air we breathe. It's in the stuff the lotion we use. It's everywhere. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's important.
That's awesome. And I know that you've had, many blessings and success in the no evidence of disease. Yeah. Is there anything that you would do now that you know what you know that you wouldn't have chosen to do? Like, if you could go back to when you were diagnosed, is there anything you would have done differently at all? If the outcome was the same, is there just no way to know that?
It's a hard question. I do occasionally, people will ask like, have I changed my protocol at all? And I really haven't, because it's working. I'm like, I don't want to stop anything in case that's what's working. It's hard to know specifically what everything's doing, but I mean, I don't think so. I think I became really educated and made choices based on the information I was reading and researching. There's a few things I maybe would have added in a little sooner that I didn't know about in the beginning, but I don't know that there's anything I necessarily would have not done. I think my path has been my path for a reason, and I believe in it.
So now that you've been sharing your story with as many people as will allow, how has that been received? Have you been nervous? Have some people pushed back? Because we know A plus B doesn't equal C. Not everybody's story equals no evidence of disease. That's just super curious.
Yeah. So I decided from the beginning to share my story, mainly because of the dismissal by the doctor, because I wanted women to know that that still really does happen, and that, you need to advocate, and that women under 40 get breast cancer, because, the standard of care is wait until you get a mammogram when you're 40. But triple negative, I mean, I'm talking to women who are like 25 and being diagnosed. It's crazy. So I started sharing very early. My Instagram has been my main platform, and it grew 20,000 followers basically overnight.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's information. I think what maybe differentiates me a little bit, or maybe it makes some people more attracted to me, is that I talk about it's okay to do both and to make choices, informed choices, as long as you're informed. Like, I don't condone being bullied into just doing surgery and radiation, or like, the opposite either. I think, just again, informed choices and the possibility of both is okay. And I think that's relieving to some people. But yeah, it's been amazing. Like, I would say, out of all those people, and I post a lot and I'm constantly in my DMs and on my Instagram, and I would say I've had like 2 negative interactions the whole time.
That's
like,
not bad.
no, people are very, very nice. I've had the absolute pleasure of talking to women all over the world. It's been a really empowering journey. I don't obviously wish cancer on anybody, or that I wish I didn't have cancer, but also it's been a really transformative experience for me personally. I'm grateful for, to be honest.
Is there anything that you were hoping to share today that I haven't touched on?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the advocating for yourself is my most important message. Really trusting your intuition, believing in yourself, staying positive, surround yourself with community and positivity. Like, I scroll past the negative ones. Don't read those stories. It all matters. It really does all matter at a cellular level to your biology, the way that you think does. And I hope women can take that message away.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate, Jamie, you sharing your story with us today. Conversations like this remind us that healing is possible. And with each of us, we have a calling on our lives. And sometimes it comes through difficult situations. And we thank you for being with us today. Until next time on Healed Whole Called. Thank you again.
Thank you.